Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
First, we're going to check the news. And this is Monday, May 10th. And right now, I'm not seeing anything too exciting on the news front. We are down here right around the 7:30 CSPM Monday. Ooh, that's Monday, May 10th. We're just not seeing anything at all until 3:30. Well, that's 3:30 this morning. And then later on this afternoon, nothing much on the news on that chart. Let's take a look at the my FX book and see what they say here. Here's a red folder. This was at 1 o'clock last night. It was in the middle of the night. That was with the Aussie dollar. But it looks like it's a pretty clear, nothing too exciting today and a little bit coming up on tomorrow, but looks like it might be a relatively quiet week this week. A little bit 2 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon with the US dollar. But right now, there's not much on the news front. Looking at our charts and seeing what currencies are strong, which ones seem to be weak. I'm seeing the strength of the British pound on all 4 time frames. This is our 1 hour chart. There's my 30-minute chart, 15 and 5. The British pound is strong on all 4 time frames. The Japanese yen is weak on all 4 time frames. So if we have an alert for the yen versus the British pound, we'll be trading to the strength of the British pound. The Aussie looks the same. It looks pretty much the same on all 3. The British, the Aussie, New Zealand are the top 3. They're the strongest. And then the weakest seems to be the yen and the euro. And the dollar is still relatively weak, although it looks like the dollar is starting to climb into a little bit of strength as we get probably closer to the 9:30 hour. And let's see. We can go to, let's see. Let's go back to the charts.
Well, let's go take a look at UJ, because Leon was he had a downward arrow, but now it seems to be reversing.
UJ is a USD JPY.
Yeah, I'm going to assume it's 15-minute, but I'm not sure.
I got an alert here on the 5-minute, I see. We just got a 5-minute alert on the, I think that was 5-minute.
He was for a short, so I'm thinking.
Well, let's see. I'm thinking that with this one, we have, let's slide this over here a little bit. And we have an up arrow. So I'm going to, first off, I'm going to change to my template. It has all my moving averages on it. Try to be consistent. See if I can remember to do this each time before I start drawing things, because as soon as I do, I change to the template and then I have to redraw everything again. So just, I like having my moving averages up here. I can always take some off if I need to. Right now we have, here's our 200 moving average. I like to see the price above both this aqua line and the purple line. The purple is the 200. The aqua is the arrow moving average, which is part of the default. And we have don't really have a bounce. I don't have a green zone, a green zone down here, which I can see what the direction is. The fact that the 200 moving average is kind of flat and there's a lot of consolidation that wasn't real clear until you scroll out on this time frame. Get into let me go to the 15-minute, because that's where I usually like to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4 red, 1, 2, 3, 4 green. We're kind of right in the middle of a zone. And if I measure between this zone, the red zone, and the green zone, the distance between the two, we have 45, 48 pips. That's, we'd like to see 50 pips. That's pretty close. I'm going to go back to the 5-minute chart. Scroll out. So we don't have a bounce arrow because it's not bouncing off of anything, but we do have an arrow right here. And so I'll mark that.
Were we in an uptrend or a downtrend now?
Oh, let's see, what was that again? On the 15-minute chart, I think we're in an uptrend. Actually, it was kind of even 4 and
Okay, yeah. So
1, 2, 3, 4, and
that's
4.
where you
So
get in the danger zone here, because you've got some major consolidation.
So we have an up arrow here, and then we have a down arrow. So when I put both these arrows on like that, that means it's basically in a both zones are equal. We're kind of in a range right now. And whenever I see that I'm in a range and I'm in the middle of that range, I just stay away from it until it decides which way to go, because you're really just playing roulette with that, because you just don't know. It could break either way very easily. Obviously, how to bounce off of here. And like I said, right now, the price is right. It's below the 200 moving average, but it's also it's a little bit below the arrow moving average, but you're having a lot of consolidation right here. So right now, if you can look across this little channel right here, you'll see that the price keeps coming back to that and rejected it. Came back to that, took off, rejected it, came back, rejected it. So right now, the price just seems to be coming back inside this little channel right in here. And when it does that, you just kind of want to wait till it makes an extension, then see if it comes back again. So I'd be more apt to try and take a long down here, short up here, stay out of the middle, and I'll draw Fibonacci on this one. So I'm going to take it from the green zone to the red zone. See how far the pullback was. It was a 61.8% pullback. It does seem to have a little bit more to the steam to the upside, but if it comes up and starts heading up towards this red zone, it's going to have to deal with this moving average right here, and that's only probably 5 pips away. Oh, it's more than that. It's 10 pips away. If we go to a lower time frame, again, the price is still a little bit. It's just there's no clear direction, so there's no reason to take a trade that's that iffy. Well, I mean, you can take a trade and you could buy it right here and sell it when it gets up here. You could sell it here and buy it back when it comes back here.
Yeah.
You could actually, if you really wanted to, you could probably take both positions and just hang on to the position and just unleash one of them when it gets down and unleash the other one when it gets up the other side. But that's a whole nother technique, which we don't talk about too much. But that's pretty much what I see is that right now it could go in either direction.
Yeah,
So,
I don't. There's no trade here for me.
no.
I mean, even your trend line bounce, like if you draw a trend line from the top of that run to it's so kind of sloppy.
I said right now it retraced the 61%. It also came back up to the 38 and has been rejected. So right now, this is the range. It's really pretty much hanging out in this range right in here. So I'd be more apt to say I don't want to do anything to it till at least it gets down into maybe this range, which is the lower 25% of this whole move up here. And I'd probably maybe keep it 25% at the upper 25%, which from the 0 to the 23.6. And as long as it's inside that range, I'm going to stay away from it. If it comes back into the blue area, I'll start looking for maybe a little bit of a reversal to maybe pop it up to the upside. But right now, as long as it's in here, I have no interest in taking that trade. So we can keep that on the charts. We can watch it from time to time here and see what happens. Right now, we have 2 minutes before the next 15-minute candle closes, so we may have in a couple of minutes we may have a little something. Let's see. We did say that the British pound was strong, so let's take a look at we said the British yen. So let's take a look at the British yen on a 15-minute chart. Pull that up. So right now we're just sort of looking to see if we can find something that would make some sense. Strong move up overnight. Here's the daybreak for Sunday. This is the overnight range. Here's our money zone. Let me go and get my template up. Load. And here's my moving averages. I'm going to guess they're all in the right order, which they are. Usually when you see that big of a spread, they're usually, and you can see it's trending. It's making a high, a low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Look for a little bit of a pullback. And it did form another zone. This was Sunday night. Here's our money zone right in here. But Mondays are usually kind of quiet days. So I usually like to let the market just sort of stabilize and start determining what kind of direction it's going to be heading out for the week. Here was the high, the overnight high. It was right on here on this point. And you can see when it got to the money zone, it broke this candle right here, broke this high of the overnight high. Here's the body of the overnight before the money zone. Here's the body low, which would be right about in this area. This is one of the techniques and one of the strategies. And when it gets to the money zone, if it breaks the upper line or the bottom line, you take the trade, you go for 20 pips. Here it broke it once it hit the money zone and going up for, let's see what we got here. And we have, and that looks like US yen. So here's the break. And it came up this, we had a 50 pip move overnight last night. So you would have gotten your 20 pips out of that. Anybody, especially anybody that's over in Europe, they have a nice shot at getting these early trades because they're not up in the middle of the night. It's kind of getting early morning for them. But for us in the U.S. on the East Coast, it's a little bit early. 1 o'clock in the morning. This is pretty much 1 o'clock in the morning our time. And so it's, I don't usually trade this time frame, but though this is probably one of the best times to be trading is when the London market opens up. And between that and pretty much before the U.S. market opens up. There's really no trade set up there yet. And let's see, we'll take a look and see what we have over, if there's any alerts. Not seeing anything on the 15-minute. You know, 5-minute Euro US, take a look at that one. Make it big. Again, now here was a bounce arrow, but the arrow never really opened. You never got the arrow till it was way up here. From this point to the red zone, you only had 5 pips. It wouldn't have been a tradable trade. It did hit the red zone, pulled back, formed a down arrow, now another up arrow. But again, the up arrow is right here. Pretty much, as you see, it's right in line with this one. But here's the up arrow. Again, there's no room to the upside. Plus, it's not a bounce. It's just more of a, the algorithm just showed that it was generate the arrow, but nothing to really trade on that point. And let's see, what's the range between these two zones? First off, let's get our moving averages up here, see what they look like. Load moving averages. All the moving averages do seem to be in the right direction, except now we're getting the cross of the greens crossing over the slower moving averages, and now we have another, looks like it's about ready to cross back to the upside again. We expand this out a little bit. And we'll see right now the green and the yellow moving averages are right neck and neck on top of each other. We did have the arrow here. Let's mark that. And this is on a 5-minute chart. And if you check the distance there, that's only 4 pips, and you're going to be right about at where the spread is. And you would, again, it's not enough room. I like at least, I shoot for 15 pips before I take a scalping trade of about 5 to 7 pips. That's only 5 pips. That barely will get your spread covered. So again, nothing on that trade. Not even a trade, it's just there. We'll take that one back off. Nothing there.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes, Kristen.
Jonica would like you to please look at the Euro Yen on the 15, please.
Euro Yen on the 15.
Thank you.
Euro Yen on the 15. Lots of green. So I'm just going to say this thing's in an uptrend, but the moving average is up there. And right now we have strong consolidation right here. It is above the 200 moving average. We do have lots of green below, a little bit of red above. It is in an uptrend. I'll put our arrows on this one. We did have the overnight, this was the overnight high right in here. Here's the daybreak. Here's the new day. That's the high of it. And here's the body of the low. This is strategy number something 3, I think, maybe. Whereas money zone breakout of the overnight session. So here's the money zone. And so this is the zone that basically the overnight range was right in this area. And here was the breakout. This is the candle that broke out, hit the money zone. First time it broke out of the money zone was right here, but came right up into and formed a zone. Now, if you have gotten in to be able to get your 20 pips, and it could still be working to get that way. You could still be in the trade. The trade risk levels are usually 20 pip risk, 40 pip stop. So if you got in, and if you got in at this point, your stop would be way down here. Let's see, it'd be right around, looking for 40. It'd be
Nope,
right around
that's
in
it.
that area, right about there would be your stop. You would have gotten, could have got, a lot depends on when you would have entered into this trade. If you have entered it off of this, you have got in like on a 5-minute candle, and you still wouldn't have gotten much. You still probably would have waited till the candle closed. Or at least, yeah, you would have liked to have seen at least the candle. Now, these would have been kind of close. You had the arrow right there. You may have been able to enter into that. You still would have been hard pressed getting your 20 pips. You'd probably still be in this trade. But you can see it's just kind of going flatline right across here. This really, the range on this thing is relatively narrow, even from the top of this red zone to the green zone. That's 32 pips. When you're looking at it over a, let's see, this is, when did it start here? Looking at 9 o'clock to 9, that's about 5 hours. It's only managed to change 32 pips over a 5-hour period during the London session. That's not a great, that's not a real big move.
Excuse me, Al. Kevin would like you to draw a Fibonacci on that chart, please.
On this one?
Yes, please.
Okay, Fibonacci. Well, there's not much of a Fibonacci to draw on this, actually. It's kind of flat. I usually like having a little bit more. I prefer to draw my Fibonacci's on a 15-minute chart. And this is probably about, I'd have to go all the way down to this one to make it worth my while.
Yeah, even then, it's not really, you're consolidating at like the 50%, right?
Yeah, I'm right here. Here's your low, here's your high. It is in an uptrend, so you want to just go from low to high. Wait for the pullback. Here's the pullback, 61%. So we do have. Let me do this. See if I can get this thing to. Let's see if I can get this thing to open up. There we go. Here's your 61% retracement. Here's the wick coming down. You could basically possibly use this wick as the fact you have such consolidation right here. It's just, I would go with the lower time frame at this point. But this is the way I would have drawn it from there to here. It's sitting right at the 50-60% area. So it's really, here's the pullback, came back up. But you see, it couldn't even break through to, okay, well, basically came up into the 23%. So basically you have the 23% here. And if I can take this thing down to this area down here, this is the lower 23%. This is one I talk about, actually 25% of the move, the upper and lower 25%. Shapes. Here's the upper 25%. You see, basically it's coming up. It came up into that, came back down. Now I'd be waiting to see if it comes back down to test this. And so right now it's range bound. There's no clear direction right now. I mean, this during the middle of the night, this may have been tempting to take this at the 50% bounce. And when you got to close above the 38%, maybe go for the 23. But once you get up into this upper 25%, that's about all the target I would have been willing to take. And right now it's still above your moving average, the purple moving average right on this one. So I would expect bounces off of that. You do have a little bit of a wedge from a wedge and trend line standpoint. You have a little bit of a, here's the first hit, right? Here's the first hit. It did penetrate that. This was a head fake. So I'm going to hold this one as, here's the anchor. Here's the first near hit. Now I'm sure this might only be a couple pips. Let's see if we can measure that out. That's 3 pips. So that's about a little bit double the spread on that possibly. So, but you do have a zone right here. Here's the hit. Then we have another trend line coming down from the bottom. I'll be using this. Here's anchor. Here's the first hit. There's our wedge. And right now it's consolidated. It's bouncing in between here. If you look at between the two extremes on this, you have 13 pips. Again, not a lot. I'd like to see a little bit wider range, but if it comes back down, I'd be more apt to take a long here. And if I could get maybe 5 pips back to the center where about where the moving averages are, that would be about as best I could do. But even with that, my target would still only be 8 pips as opposed to 15 that I would need. It's just getting too tight. If I was able to catch it over here, it might be a little different story. It might have 15 pips to the upside. Let's see if I can measure that. If you call it this bounce, even that would be kind of iffy. You got 13.7. So you'd want to catch it from here. I'd like to see at least 15 pips to the halfway point, which means I'd almost need like a 30 pip channel. But this was really the first bounce. This is the first test of this trend line. This has identified the trend line. There was a bounce here, came back up. This one did have some, this pullback right here to this pull. This would be a test. So at that point, now this trend line was broken, but you can see that this one picked up the slack. So this one, what it did is identified a channel right here. And so it's just not ready to give any confirmation. There's the problem with it. So don't be in a hurry to take trades on a Monday morning. Don't be in a hurry to give it all back on a Friday. So I'm always pretty cautious on Mondays and Fridays. That's not to say there aren't good trades, and there will be some good trades, and there's probably going to be some today. But just wait for those ideal trades to come in.
Al, Leon would like you to look at the German 30 on the 5-minute. He got an up arrow.
German 30 on the 5-minute, huh? Yeah, there is an up arrow there. That was a while back. So we had the arrow right in there. Let's see if we can spin that out. This is not a bad time for the German 30 because the European markets are open. And so here would be the arrow, be right in there. So let me get the moving averages up, see what they look like. German 30's been, I've been trading the German 30 with variable, and it's been working very nicely. It's been my strongest pair on variable. Let's see. So right now we are right at this bounce. You can see it's bouncing right off the 200 moving average. We are getting the cross, or we are getting consolidation right here. So we have a little trend. It did break this trend. We had an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a confirmation. It broke. It is trying to break to the upside, but it's got to get through these moving averages. We do have the green crossing the yellow and the blue, and it's about to try and cross over the 62. If we can get a close above this, around this point right here, it's got to get through this little piece right in this one. I'd be drawing this one a little bit. Let's see how would I do this. Had a nice move down, came back up, retested. I like this little trend right on here on the bottom. Try and line these wicks. It's kind of cutting through those wicks a little bit. And about like that seems to be in order. So I have a trend line here. So here's the anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. Again, another hit coming out. Now this we could possibly get a trap right in here. Where we have this pivot, breaks the trend line, breaks it, closes, but it gives us a little head fake only for it to go back up. Let's see where the overall trend is on this thing. We have more green than red, so it is in somewhat of an uptrend. I'd be more apt to take it long, but I want to see a break through this moving average, and then you have some room to the upside. It's going to have to clear through this point, which is the 15,394. But once it clears through that, it's going to, you've got several wicks right here. Had a strong move down, came back up, tested, lower, tested, lower, tested. Keeps coming back to this area right in here. So from that standpoint, I would be looking to see it to break through these wicks. Shapes. You see it clear through this series of wicks over here. Let's see. And if we can clear through that, then we have room to the upside. Let's see how much that's $22 or 22 euros or dollars, I guess, whatever the denomination is, I guess. But I would want to see, I don't want to take it short because it does seem to be in an uptrend, but let's wait for the pullback, see if it comes back and retest this little area. If it does, we might have a nice little bounce to get a little bit higher. Right now, it's still a little bit indecisive which way to take this thing. The fact it is in an uptrend, but we had this strong move down. This is from last week. Or is this from let's see what time frame we're on here. We're on the 5 minute. Now, this would be the overnight. This is in the money zone. This is the overnight move. So it did have it was kind of in a downtrend from the overnight session. Not clear. It's not just, will give us some time to see if it can make up its mind which way it wants to go. This is a relatively strong down move from overnight, bouncing. It could I'd be more apt to think it's probably going to retest this, but it's going to have to get through this zone, and we're going to have to look through a bounce off of that. I'd like to see it come down, bounce, arrow, go, and maybe have a shot at this area. But this one's still kind of flat. This is still kind of flat. Just getting a crossover consolidation. We are getting a little bit of a bounce, but there's just not a real, and this could be a bounce to maybe take it on up to that area. I would be more apt to think that at this point in time, but right now it's still consolidating. No, again, no real clear direction.
Excuse me, Al. Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you were done. Sorry.
Yeah, just about, but especially since it's bouncing off this 200 moving average, I would wait for it to clear that first before I take it long. Yes, Christine.
Yes, Casper would like to know if you can look at the pound yen at the 1 hour, please.
Pound yen 1 hour. Let's double check this. Make sure we get this thing. Pound yen 1 hour. Let me double check and see if we have anything showing us yet here before I do that. Nothing. 15 pound yen. Pound yen 1 hour. Okay, let's check my moving averages. I have a feeling it's going to be in an uptrend. It looks like it's probably going to be, all of my moving averages will probably be pretty close to being in the right direction if they're not. And here's the 200, 62, arrow, 13.5. They're all in the right direction. We want to be taking this thing long. Now the question is, where is it going to stop? Let's pull up a 4-hour chart and see if there's any zones up above. Nothing there. Let's go to a daily, see if there's anything above there on the daily chart. And we're right in the middle of a red zone on the daily. So I would expect if you're profitable, I'd be start thinking about maybe taking some of those profits off the table. I don't know where it's going to stop. I'd have to have a couple of zones up on top here. There's a good chance it may break through the top of that, but it's probably going to run out of steam by the time it gets up to the 155, 53 area. I'm not sure where you got it. Here was the arrow. There was a bounce arrow. This was at, this was in the middle of the night. And that's a nice little move from the overnight session. See if I can scroll this up a little. There we go. Yeah, actually, this thing was starting to climb all the way out ever since the opening of the market last night. Here's the arrow, beginning of the money zone. Here's the break of the overnight session. And if you scroll this thing out into a lower time frame, you have been looking at getting in on this candle here somewhere, and you have been up, right now you would be up 84 pips. So I said these overnight London Open sessions on the British, especially on these British pairs, are they usually have a lot of really good moves during the night, but you're going to have to be willing to hang on to them for a couple hours, generally speaking. But they do usually work out they work out very well in a lot of ways. Let's see. That's pretty much all I have to say about that one. It isn't an uptrend, room to the upside, but you're running into some daily zones to have to be considered. Let's put that down there. Let me check and see what else we got here. Getting through some of the chats and things.
There's really nothing, Al. We'd let you know if there was.
Okay. All right.
Unless you want to do it for your reading pleasure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing it for my reading pleasure, actually.
We also have a question from Raj, if you'd like to look at that.
With
See what you think. Yeah. Can you please look at the JPN 225?
So which one?
I know I'm not familiar with that. I had asked him what currency
It's
was
the
that.
Nikkei.
Oh, I'm not even
Thanks, Matt.
I'm not even going to go down that road.
Yeah, I don't trade that one at all.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm not going to go down that one. Yeah. We'll pass on that request. Sorry.
What is that, an index?
Yeah, it's the Nikkei or whatever it is.
Japanese index, I believe, is what it is.
Some type of Japanese index. Usually when it has a number, it'll be an index.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Looks like Bitcoin's doing its little thing here. Let's see, what's Bitcoin doing last night? It's up to 58, 50, yeah, 58 plus. Cryptos had a very strong weekend this weekend.
Everything except Dodge, which some people got hurt on that, and I feel bad for them.
Well, it's probably because Elon Musk was on Saturday Night Live, and they probably thought it was going to go up, and then after he got done, it found out it really wasn't going. I think it went probably up in price prior to Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it had built-in value already,
Yeah.
so there's nothing there.
So, but Bitcoin is the cryptos just keep on chugging away. Someone's going to ask me about gold, so I might as well just go to it.
Actually, it's right here. I was just about to. Gold looks like it could potentially break out.
Somebody always asks me about gold, and yeah, gold's last time I looked at it last week, it was at 1792, and now it's up to 1841. So it's making a little rebound towards the size. Its highs were up. I mean, we still have a ways to go before it reached the last summer's highs. But it was last July, of course, about a year ago. It hit the new highs a year ago, and it may take another run at it this June, July. Who knows? That's your guess is as good as mine. Here's a little bit of a trend, but not much of a trend. That's more just a zone. Let's go and move it down to about like that, and let's see. And this little head fake right up in here just came right back up. We tested this little area. So we can move this over. And here's actually I kind of like this little area right in here. Here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's where it starts trading lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Strong move down. You can see that strong move down came back up. It's probably going to retest this, which it did right here. And now it's breaking out to retest this little zone. If you were to take a Fibonacci on this, let's just take this one off here. Just delete that. Put a Fibonacci on. Here's the high. Now the thing is, right now I'm just seeing two zones and two zones. So I'm looking at it being somewhat consolidating right now. Again, no real clear direction. There's the upper 25% in this area. Actually, let me just do the moving averages since I know I'm going to want to do that anyway. Moving averages are consolidating. We got the green crossing everything. Green, yellow, blue. And here's our 200, which just got penetrated, broke across. So right now I'd say it's probably looking at this zone right up here for a target. And that would be, looks like about $94 worth of a move. It did break the trend line. Looking at this for the trend line, did break that. Here's the anchor, here's the hit, here's the third hit, came back down, broke it right in here. Came right up to the 200, rejected. Right back into this zone. But right now it's clearing this whole area right in here. And from a Fibonacci standpoint, we'll be looking at, it's right now coming up to a 61% retracement of this down move. Here's our upper 25% zone. Let's see, shapes. Again, like I said, I like to have my upper 25% of a move, lower 25%, especially when the move doesn't have any real clear direction. I think it's just good to mark those 25% ranges because it's basically being range bound right now. There's a zero. This is the one here. There's the 25%. So came down, came back up, bounced, retested this, broke. It's probably on its way up to this area. I'd be looking at maybe this for a target, but it's got to clear through all these little wicks, right? This is pretty wicky area right in here. And that's right between the 61 and 78% retracement. We did get a pullback. It closed back up. In a lot of ways, I kind of like seeing this thing if it's going to start trending. I kind of like it this way. So here's where it broke it, came back down, retested the 61.8, making new highs. So right now it's starting to trend. So right now I'd be looking to see for it to pull back. Actually, let me reverse this Fibonacci. I kind of like this move up right now and looking for it to pull back to the 38% retracement, which would be right about in here. And you can see that, even see what the distance between these two lines right here, see what the range is on that. You have, looks like $19. That's pretty good range on that. If I see it as it makes new highs, I'm going to see it pull back just like it did here. Here's the first move up. Here's the first, this retracement from this point to here, back to here. This is right at the 38%. That's a nice little, that makes me feel that gives me a little bit of confidence that this thing's still moving to the upside. Came right into the 38% retracement, came back, now let's make a new high. So here's the impulse move, retracement, impulse move, retracement, impulse move, looking for the retracement. I'm going to say retracement back to the 38%. Which is right about in here. I want to start watching it after. It's got to come back at least 23. If it doesn't come back 23, I'm not interested. If it comes back somewhere between 23 and 38%, let's just even use these two zones. If it comes back and crosses any of these two lines, then I'll be looking for it to cross back above one of these, and then let me take it long again. If I were to trade gold, which I don't. But that's what I'd be looking at. I'd be looking for it to get done with this impulse move, look for a retracement, see if it comes back to 23 or 38. If it wicks wherever it wicks into, as long as whatever it doesn't close in, if it wicks and closes to the 23, you may be expected to go to 38. If it wicks and closes below the 38, you may be expecting to go to the 50. If it just wicks down to the 23, wicks, comes back and closes above the 23, you may be looking at another run to the upside. And that's the way I would read that one. Let's see where we at here. Been at this almost an hour.
Got nothing overly exciting for a Monday, do we?
No, it's pretty quiet. It's really quiet for this Monday. So what we're doing right now is about as good as we can expect to be doing, I'd say. Let me see if I can get another.
You don't need a lot of trades in the week, right?
No.
And that's what people get upside down. They think because they get like 30 alerts, they need to trade 10 of them.
Right. Yeah, just discriminate between which ones you want to take. Know your trade plan. Know what looks right to you. Know what seems to work. And then just wait for the trade setups that have worked, that give you the highest percentage of wins. Wait for those types of setups. One thing I look for a bounce, an arrow. And when I see an arrow, I check my other chart to see how strong of a move is it. So now I can't do it so much with the gold, but with the currency pairs I can. So I'll go back and I'll check my strength meter here and see, okay, British pound's still strong. The dollar's gotten a little bit weaker across the board here. The British yen, the Japanese yen has gotten stronger. It was all the way down here at the bottom. Now it's coming up a little bit. So the yen has gotten a little stronger. So this is one of two things. Either one, it's going to start changing, reversing directions, or we're just looking at a pullback. Let's take a look at this British yen, see what we've got. Oh, where we go? Let's see. Let's just go to this one, and we're going to go to bring up another chart here. Go to the British yen, and let's go to a higher time frame. Let me go to a 1 hour. See the nice strong move up. Now, right now, I'm not seeing anything to the left that where this thing right now, this is the highest I see on my whole screen. So I'm just going to go to higher time frames until I find something. Here was a little break. So it did break this. This was a major high. You can see where we had a nice strong move down, came back up. Here's our retracement, came back up, strong move back down. And here's our W right here. And now it just broke through this point right in here. So we did break this. We did have a close above this wick. It hasn't closed yet. This one is still working. So this is right into a pretty good supply zone. Let's go to a daily chart and see what we have. You're seeing like right now, I'm seeing that it hasn't made a new high, hasn't been to this high. I'm on a daily chart and it's still off the charts in July of last year. Let's go to a weekly chart. Sometimes you have to go back weeks and months before. There you go. So here's the highest. Now this was back in June of 2018. So that's 3 years ago. This is 3 years worth of data. And right now the highest point that it came back in 2018 is right here. I'm just going to take just the wicks of this. And I'm going to take the wicks off of this one here as well. So these are weekly wicks, and you're talking, there's a lot of, and you see right now it's right up into this weekly wick from way back in April 3 years ago. So this is a 3-year-old retracement. And, but I'm going to say this is our supply zone. Let's see. I'm going to lock this. Now I can go back to my daily chart and see what I've got. See how deep is this zone. But it's going to have to get through the top of this before it heads on up towards that area. Remember, these are just the wicks on weekly wicks. And it's coming right up into that strong move up. Oh, which was that one? British yen. Oh, that's 2 bars. It went up 166 pips, looks like. Big move. Now what we're going to do with it. Now we're looking for a little bit of a turnaround point. Okay, so right now we're in the supply zone. It's moving in. This was the overnight session right here. And it's just right now it's opening up this week, a strong move up. Now the question is this going to reach a point and then come back and retrace? But right now we have a little bit of a channel on this. It's just making highs, lows, higher lows, higher highs. Here's the impulse move. Here's the retracement. Look at the overall Fibonacci on this. I'm using this tool for the retracements, actually. The extensions pulls back 38%. Now my target would be up here. This could very well come on up to, I'm going to guess it's going to come up into this little area right in here. Again, it's kind of a guess, but that's what I'd be looking at. If I were in this trade, I'd be looking at this being possible target. And I'd probably be out before then, but this is the target zone. Now this move up from the overnight, once it kind of broke into the money zone, I guess you could say this would be right around 1 o'clock. Yep. This is about where the money zone would be. Came back up, pulled back. I would say this is going to be the target. It may go up even higher yet, but it's got to get through the top of this. And I think you're going to find some sellers coming in right around in this area. But here's my 100% from this move to the retracement. Right here's my 1-to-1. This would be if you drew a stick from here to here, and then take that point, that stick, and take it from this point. It'll take you right on up to the 1-to-1. So I'll be looking at this would be a target for me if I were in this trade, if I wasn't out of it already, which I probably would be if I got into it. Usually I only go for 7. I may go for a little bit more if I feel really good about it, but for the most part, I take my 5 pips and run. Target, looking for the target on this. And just now be pretty much waiting for a pullback. So right now it pulled back. It's up to the 61.8. I would expect maybe another little pullback. Here's a trend line. Here's my trend line. I'll go from here to here. Here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the hit. Comes back down. And right now we have a little bit of, if it comes back in there, I'd expect it to, if it can break this trend line, then I'd be looking at maybe come down and retesting this. But right now, everything's still moving in the right direction. The 5-period moving average still has not crossed the 13. It comes back down, test it on the pullback, get the close above, take it no long again. That'll be the analysis on that.
Al, we have a few questions in the Q&A.
Okay, let's see what we got. Let's see, US CAD for the last question. US CAD. Let's take a look at it. I'll start with a 15-minute chart. Looks like it's range bound. Remember, try and do everything as mechanical and as routine as you possibly can. Everything's still, all the moving averages are starting to consolidate. They were all in the right direction. See how we had a little bit of a pullback on here. It did cross over, then it came right back and crossed over again to make a new low. It's still kind of consolidating right now. That's on the 15-minute chart. And let's see where the trend is on this. I'm going to guess it's on a downtrend. Lots of red, a little bit of green. We'll call this a downtrend. Here's the last zone that we're dealing with. So right now here's a bounce, arrow, go, but now the question is, do we have enough room to the downside? 13. Little tight on the range on that one. Let's see where this is US CAD. Let's take a look and see where that is on the heat map. Here's a US CAD. They're both on the low end, both weak. They're fighting for last place. So right now we're getting a consolidation. You just see some sort of an impulse move to break out of to try and get into a trade on that one. Which way it's going to go, it depends who wins. Right now we don't. Right now they're still in the battle. We're not sure who's going to win that battle. So it's consolidating. And I said the range here is, we have a 20 pip range to range, but it is a down move, got the bounce arrow. Let's go to a 5-minute chart and see what that looks like. See, this is all very wicky right in here. So It's all over the place right now. Here's a trend. Here's the anchor. Here's the first hit. We'll see if it comes up and retest the zone again. And we had a strong, here's our W right here. Here's a move down. Here's a move up. Here's our move down and a retest of the low. Here's the extra, there's the first leg. Here's the other bottom of the second leg. Pull back up, broke the top, pull back up. And so here's our W. Looks like it may have a tendency to maybe go to the upside. Once we get the W, we're looking for pullbacks, but we're looking for higher highs. And right now we don't have that yet. Plus we're going in the wrong direction. So we also may be looking for the strong move up, pull back, strong move up. Here's a trend line right here. It's actually consolidating the way I see this. Here's a trend line right here. Catch these two lows. There's the anchor. Here's the hit. Waiting for a hit here. This is actually the origin of the W, but it's way up here. Let's take this trend line. Move it up here. Move this up to here. Here's our wedge. And right now it's kind of stuck in between this range right here. And that's only 11 pips. So it's got to break out of one of these two. If it breaks out of here, it probably could come back down and retest that. Again, only 8 pips, not enough room. It's in a downtrend. At best, you could maybe catch, say, try to take a short up here to a target. There we would have our 20 pips or close, very close to it. But I have to wait. I wouldn't want to take it short until I'd like to see it bounce off of here a little bit more. We came up and tried it. A lot of wicks right in this area. Very wicky. Looks like the trend is changing direction a little bit. Here's an anchor. There's a hit. You see it's just getting tighter and tighter. Again, very typical for Monday morning. Just lots of movement, but no real clear direction. It's still trying to find its way. And we had a little bit of a, let's see, here's a rejection right here. This is like a double bottom right there. And this could be our trap. I like this little wick right here. Came back. This is the origin. Strong move up. Came back. Tested this. Crossed over. Made a new high. Came back. Tested this zone right here. Rejected it. You probably have some buyers right sitting in here. So if you try taking it long, this might be a little bit. But the question is, did all the buyers get chewed up? If they did, then it's probably going to come down to retest. I want to see a close below this blue zone. Come back up. Retest the trend line, and then take it short to go short. If I didn't take it, so right now you have a choice. You could take it, and I'm not taking either one of these choices, but looking for a bounce off of here to go up higher, looking for a break, close, retest to go lower. Don't know which way it's going to go. Can't predict.
Okay, Al, do you want to look at the other Q&As?
Okay, can you please look at the German 30? I think it's going in the right direction. As I expected. Well, that's always nice to know that things go as I expected. Let's take a look. German 30, BTC, German 30. Do I have it here? Did I save that chart? Guess I didn't. German 30 on the 15.
Yeah, I don't trade German 30 on the 15. I'll use the 5. And then
Okay.
I'll enter on the 1.
Yeah, let's go and put the thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, usually we trade these indexes on the five and I could they're this one can be kind of pricey and also it moves
Yes.
very fast, so you want to be really careful with this one. It's a great index to trade. I really like it on variable. It's been very good to me on variable. Template load. Here we go.
What's the direction, Al?
This one, so I'm trying to find out here. Right now,
Looks
it looks like
in
we're
consolidation.
it's consolidating. It looks like we're trying to, it's in consolidation right now. Yeah, it's consolidating right now on the 15. On the 5, we have the cross of all, the 5 crossed all the moving averages. We have a close above the 30. We have a close above the 50 arrow. Did it break above it? We have this little wick right over here. It did not close above that. So we have a little bit of a problem area there.
And what about zooming out a little bit? What do we got? See, right now that makes me want to take a look at it being short. But like you see your moving averages are crossing and consolidating. When that happens, it's most of the time or a lot of the time it's going to continue in the same direction of the previous move.
Let's see, on a 1 minute chart here, on a 1 minute.
Oh, you're on 1?
Well, I just went to 1.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at a 1 minute right now. So right now, looking at seeing, okay, we have all the moving averages are crossed. We had the bounce off of this area. Now, if I would be looking at, I'd be looking at this for a target area. And that's, looks like $8, I guess. Looks like.
It's a good move.
It's a good move. This thing has some.
I like that it respected your bottom trend line.
Let's see what the euro is. The euro is still kind of weak, so that would, if this thing trades the same way with the euro as our market does with the dollar, when our dollar is weak, the market goes up and vice versa. So using that same theory, although it's not a proven theory, it's a theory that if the euro is weak, this market would go stronger.
But we're not even at. Oh yeah, we would be at market open for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're not market open for the U.S. And I've noticed that as soon as the U.S. market opens, this thing likes to take a swing.
Actually, Al, there was a question earlier regarding the German 30 and position sizing. He also was asked the question about the strategy following the 20-40 pip rule. That's for the regular currencies, which I answered that you do not. Currencies indexes tend to go on their own merit. It's a different setup altogether. So you can't trade them the same as currency, but he's asking specifically, Aman, I apologize. I said he, I'm really not sure. So I've made a few mistakes in gender before. My apologies if I'm incorrect. But what is the recommended lot size on a $2,000 account on the German?
Depends.
Well, the lot size, like what's your position size?
I would say, well, let's see, I can show you what I kind of do here.
Yeah, because I find you can lose your shirt on it if your position.
Yeah, you can be
very fast. Very fast. But it depends on your stop loss, right? Like I use the other zone, exactly. So you can't arbitrarily. Like we don't use 40 pip stop loss on this. You can't.
No, well, that's why you guys asking for our advice.
I don't think I have this on the German 30. I don't think. See if I do. Right, that's Dow Jones. Yeah, we don't have this thing set up for the German 30. But if we do like the US 500,
moves faster than the 500, though.
I don't know about you guys, but when I'm doing the indexes, in particular the German, I do not go by how big a stop loss I'm putting in there. I'm actually looking where I should put the stop loss.
Mm-hmm.
based on what
Yeah.
the chart is showing me. So I
Agreed.
can't use this calculator for that.
Yeah. We don't have the calculator set up for the German 30, so I don't want to read anything. I know that what I will do primarily, if I do the German 30 with I'm roughly running with almost a $3,000 account, I would probably do a 0.03. I mean, a lot of times I get a little bit more aggressive and I'll do like a 0.05 with the 3,000, but that's still, it will draw down.
That's
It's significant. I would say 0.01 per thousand would be rather aggressive,
agreed.
even on the scalp.
I'm
Yeah.
using 0.01 on my 3000.
Yeah, you really can't go any lower. You can't go any lower than a 0.01. I would start out with a 0.01, which is as low as you can go, and see how it feels for your account size, and then adjust it accordingly to what your comfort level is. You can make a lot of money real quick with it, but you can also get into major drawdown pretty quick with it as well.
Yeah.
But I'm usually down to, like, for the German 30, I usually, on this account, I would probably do a 0.03 is probably the most comfortable. 0.01 per thousand for me is plenty aggressive. And
Yeah.
0.01, until you get a feel for how it moves, I would go with a 0.01, which again is as low as you can go.
It can even at a 0.01, if you're used to trading the forex all the time and you've never traded something like this, it'll eat your shirt pretty quick and you'll get very nervous if you get any type of drawdown. Like if it breaks from where it is right now down below to the green zone, that's a pretty significant drawdown.
Let's see if I get to, so I'm on a 1 minute chart right now. I see all this consolidation right now. We did get the bounce off the 200. We got the bounce off of this trend line, but it hasn't broken the upper trend line. Here's a little wick, but didn't close above it. So if I could get a close, what I'd be more apt to doing is looking and seeing where, let's see.
Al, I'm thinking it's gonna break at the U.S. market open. I think it's gonna consolidate until that market opens and then bang.
Yeah, and we're looking at another, well, no, it's another 50 minutes. If I were to be
still a
trading this one
while.
right now, I'd be looking at maybe doing a buy stop, maybe right above about where this little dot is right here. That's basically the halfway point between the move. So if I draw my trend line, I attach it to the bottom trend line, this is basically the halfway point between here and here. Price-wise, it's about halfway. And I would be more apt to maybe do a buy stop if it comes up, breaks through this trend line, and can break through, heading up to that direction. I might be okay with doing something like that, where I just go in with a trade. I just put my cursor, right click, trade, buy stop. Boom, there's the buy stop. Move it on up a little bit. That way I'm out of harm's way. Let it come down. If it breaks through, I'm not in it. Not having to worry about all this on the bottom. Right now, it seems to be in an uptrend. We have lots of green right here. This is on the 1 minute. I prefer to be doing all this on the 5 minute on this one. But here again, here's your trend. Here's our bounce. And I'd be looking at maybe this for the target. If it breaks, gets me in the trade, I might be looking at the target being, that's be about $7 move-ish. And that would be a nice little start for the week. If I get in, I would want my stop to be pretty much down here. Not this pivot, but this pivot. Keep it out of harm's way. Keep it out of all my moving averages. Keep it well below my my trend line. Because if it breaks this trend line, then this trend line should hold.
And
So
always use a stop loss on this thing.
Yeah.
Always.
And
Because
and the stop on this would probably be about 15,368. I come over here, modify it. Stop 15,368.
I got,
and target would be somewhere around 15,394.
it was a couple weeks ago that I got my shirt eaten on this thing. I entered a position and I turned away and got busy. And she went down like 200 and some pips within a couple minutes. And I didn't have a stop loss because I got busy. So that ate about a quarter of my earnings for the entire month. So gotta be more careful, especially with this thing.
It's really about trading anything, whether you're trading Forex or currencies or stocks. They generally don't take prisoners.
No. And this thing really didn't. I call it this because I just think it's an absolute monster. It makes so much profit you can make on this is insane.
Here's a Euro Yen 15. Let's take a look at this one. Here we have an alert on that.
Well, it's in the right direction.
Do I have that one? Euro Yen. I think I had this one marked out already. Yeah, I did.
You did.
Let's see. That one looking
Is that the 5? Yeah.
This is on the 5. It's still 15 here. This is when we had the Fibonacci zones.
Right.
And I had a little arrow going. There's the up arrow on this zone. I think I'm just going to redraw this because right now, even I am having a hard time seeing it. See a lot better when I'm drawing it, but Euro Yen.
How did you do that all at once? Remove all drawing tools?
I just X'd out of it.
Oh, okay. That was easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Just redo the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look at that wedge, though, Al. Look at that wedge. It's so nice.
Yeah, this is a nice little wedge right here. Nice little trend line. Let me get my moving averages in here. Template. Load. Here's the moving averages. All again, they're still consolidating right here. Here's a nice little trend here. Like I said, we're on a 15-minute chart, which is usually my focus chart. Draw the wedge. Here's the anchor. Here's the first pullback. Didn't hit that one. See, if I were to use this as the hit right here, you can see here's the head fake. Here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Came back up. Went up. Everyone says, "Oh, this thing's going long," but it barely closed. Came back down and back into the wedge. The moving averages are saying, "No, not quite yet." The green one was crossed over, pulled back, crossed over, pulled back. Right now, I like this one a little bit better since this thing was already kind of head faked. I'll use that for the hit. And then we have a low, higher low, pull back, retest right here. Here's the retest. So I would like from this area to here, take on up. You can see this is right where the 200 moving averages is holding. All the way up, the arrow moving average was holding, broke here a little bit, still went up. Now we've got the break over here. So I would be thinking that this thing's going to probably give a little bit of a push down, but it's got these two zones. If it comes back down to, it's got a long way to go to get to the 200 moving average, but it also has these zones right here. So Euro Yen, take a look and see what the strength of that is. The Euro and the Yen, they're still fighting it out here, fighting it out here, fighting it out here, fighting out here. No spread at all, no trade. It's consolidating. We need to see a little bit more of a impulse move, retracement. This one we could possibly get, if we can get a, like from this point right here, came back up, pulled back. Let's see the Fibonacci's on this. See how this Fibonacci moved. Here's the anchor, came back up, pulled back up, retraced back to what line? 50%, actually 38%. You see it wick down. It actually, you can't really tell if it closed because of the way these candles are drawn, but then it made a new high. So this is the pullback. Comes back up, makes a new high. Where's the pullback right now? Here is the pullback, 61% pullback. Right now, it can't decide, is it going to continue on down a little bit? Now, this could start be moving into a downward pressure. But again, there's no real clear direction to it. You have strong move up, pull back, strong move up, pull back. This trend line right here, from this point to this point, this is critical. This is critical right here. Draw the line. Now we have the break. So, but we have a break right into a demand zone. Again, how far is it going to go? You've got a lot of upward pressure. This isn't an uptrend. You are getting, but you see where it's all consolidating. If there's no clear direction, you don't take the trade. I've seen nothing that even came close to wanting to take today. Now the German 30, I've got a set in here, but I might not even keep that because I don't know. I just want to show you how to set it up. I don't particularly want to take this. So
Yeah, if you're not confident with your trade in German 30, don't take it.
Yeah, so but I'm going to maybe mark this so I can, if it does break above this pivot area.
No problem taking it in demo, right?
Yeah, well, the problem here, this is the thing, whether you're in demo or whether you're in live, you want to be consistent. You don't want to take trades, even in demo, you don't want to take trades saying, oh, let me just take this and see what's going to happen. Trust me, it doesn't pay well. It doesn't bode well for your psyche. What you want to do is you want to develop the consistency of being disciplined, whether you're in demo or whether you're not in demo. My advice is take every trade, be it demo or live, as if it were a live trade. And don't worry about the money. If it's a live trade, worry about your consistency. Because if you can stay consistent, the money will come. If you're not consistent, you're going to lose your money, whether you're in demo, and then you lose your track record. Because you want to have a track record. You want to be able to pull up those FX book charts and say, wow, look at what I've done. Look at how consistent this move has been. And then you know you're starting to become a trader.
Here, Leon, you mentioned something about drawing a pitchfork and a wedge on a M15. So I did that for you on UJ. I put it in the chat for you to see, so you could have an idea of what I kind of draw when I'm looking at it, and kind of the direction more or less. But there's multiple ways to draw a valid pitchfork. There's probably a better pitchfork than that. I just did that real quick. But what you're looking for, I didn't attach the swing low properly, so that's not good. But you go from swing low to swing high and you point it down, or swing high to swing low and point it up. And then you just draw your wedges kind of like that. Just gives you an idea, I hope. I got to bail. I got to get ready for get some work stuff done. But I really appreciate you, Al, and Eva, and Christine for just doing that all up. It's
thanks for your help.
It's awesome for the community. Anyway, we'll see you guys all sooner than later.
All right, have a good day, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Have a great day.
We will. All right, take care. Bye.
Let's see, what time is it? It's getting close to our
8 minutes.
8 more minutes.
8 minutes before 9.
Here's the SPX 500. Okay, you may start seeing moves with the U.S. market indexes, the Nasdaq, the S&P. A lot of times you'll start seeing moves, especially if you trade the futures. That's where a lot of the futures moves start before the market opens. This is an example, but it's still kind of range bound. There's not a whole lot of clear direction. Yeah, let me get my moving averages up here. So I haven't seen anything that's tradable today. The German 30 is probably about as close as I've seen anything, but you have to wait and see for it to break out of that area. And I don't want to just take a shot at it in case it breaks out. I want to kind of see it break out first. If I miss it, I miss it. Let's see, let's go to a 5-minute chart on this one. See this, even like right now, we're green zone, red zone, not a whole lot of room in between. Let's see what we got here. That's like a $3 move. And it's about a $3 move, almost $4 move. between the two zones. I like seeing at least 10. Usually with the indexes, the S&P, usually look for a $10 stop, which in this case is a, let's see, let me get the S&P, would be standard risk would be 100 for a be $150 risk or $50 reward. $5, you're basically looking $5 reward, $10 risk. And right now you're basically bouncing back and forth in between the zones with a $5 in between. There's really nothing there. See, that was on a 5-minute. Let's go to a, see if anything looks differently on a 15-minute. $6 to the red zone. Yeah, we are in an uptrend. I mean, it made some new highs last week, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. Lots of consolidation. Let's go to a 1 minute. You even like to look on a 1 minute chart. This looks, the zones are still there. Here's a pivot. Here's a hit. Draw it on up. See where it lies. You can see it's coming right. The price is coming right down into this green zone, right by the 200 moving average. When you get a moving average, like a strong moving average, like a 200 or a 62 inside of a zone, that's probably a pretty good indication that that zone is going to hold. And from the upside, here's the high, here's the hit, here's where the, I'm looking for that. When I look at the hits, I'm looking to see where was the price rejected, and not just a little bit, but like significantly. That's a significant rejection. So that tells me that this is the area right up here where the sellers were coming in. So right here is where the sellers came in. You have two zones. Sellers came in, so all the sellers are still right there. The buyers, you can see again where the buyers came in. We don't really have a, this is a little bit of rejection. It's not a real strong rejection right now. You see this one. This is strong rejection. This one is a little bit consolidation. I really kind of like this one a little bit more of a flat line, like a little bit of a wedge right in here. Could flat line it from this point to, let's just take it on over to the trend line. And then we have this point, pivot. I'll take this, use this one. This is a stronger move. This is rejection. You can always have a channel right here. We have the bigger move at the bottom. Here's the origin. Here's the rejection. And here's the trap. The break of the trend line to the pivot. And right now it's just bouncing back and forth. It may break the top of this, come back into this little wedge right in this area. See what it does, but again, you're right into a red zone. I mean, obviously there's times when the strong moves will, especially on the one, these little 1 minute zones, don't take them lightly because even though it may be a 1 minute zone, that means there's still, that's where the buyers came in or the sellers came in. And pay attention to those. Just because it's a little 1 minute zone doesn't mean it doesn't have any power to it. But yeah, there's nothing here. And we're about 2 minutes away. Any last questions? Sorry we didn't have anything to show anybody or to take anything, but that's not unusual for a Monday morning. Remember, keep your powder dry. Only take the trades that fit your criteria. Don't just take it on demo just because it's on a demo platform. Make it fit your criteria, make it fit your trade plan. And
Quick question for you, Al.
uh-huh.
Amon is asking on the German, is it normal for it to be 150 spread? Is that normal, or do they need to speak to their broker?
You know, I don't really know the answer to that question. It generally does have a pretty good size spread right now. $55 spread, I think, is probably pretty normal for.
I think so too.
I'd have to say, watch it and just see. Right this time of day, it should be fairly normal, a normal spread. It shouldn't be anything too exciting. It shouldn't vary a whole lot from that. I would say that's probably pretty normal, which in this case would be like a half a dollar, I guess. Yeah, I say that's probably pretty standard.
I do have another question for you.
Okay.
The ASX 200, which is needs to be an S&P index of some sort. Do you know it by any other name?
I have no idea what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't help you out on that one. I say Google it and see what comes up.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, that's about all we have for the day. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming in. Sorry we didn't have anything to couldn't walk away with any profits right now. The day's not over yet. We got a lot of room when the U.S. market opens up. You can see this S&P is starting to show a little bit of life right now. Take a look and see what the German 30 is doing, if it's doing anything right now either. Oh, it did break through the bottom here. Aren't we glad we didn't take it long up here? I had a buy stop here. Didn't even come close to entering it. Right now it's breaking through the bottom. And it broke this trend line, didn't close below this pivot. But now the question is it going to come back up and retest now it did break this move. Did get it closed below. Let me just back this thing off to these little pivots right here. And see if it comes up and retests. Looks like this thing wants to go down. All of our moving averages are now green. Cross to the arrow, cross to 13, cross to 62. All of our moving averages on this 5-minute chart are in the right direction. I'd say this thing could be a short, actually. Kind of liking it as a short.
Yes, Amon, it's an index,
Yep.
but we don't know what other name it goes by.
See where the euro is. Euro is still weak, still weak. Euro's still weak, still weak. Now the German 30 is actually showing weakness. So the theory of the euro and the German 30, if the euro is weak, the German 30 is strong. That theory is not holding right now at this point. But we have a wick here to the buy. I would say we could have, if it can break through this little area right in here, it would be something that may be worth looking at. Shapes. Remember I said when we had this, we could come over here, see where the body is. Here's the body. But it's going to have to get through this wick right here. Oops, I got the wrong tool here. Delete that. Where did that come from? Grab the wrong one.
Guys, I just want to say goodbye. I've got to leave my office for a few minutes, and it's after 9.
Okay.
So goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow.
Thank you, Eva. And I'm going to be shutting this
Bye,
thing
Eva.
down here too as soon as I get
Yeah.
done with this little exercise here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eva. And,
I have to run too, Al. I have to be somewhere by 9:30.
All right, Christine. We'll
Sorry.
see you tomorrow as well. Not
Okay.
a problem.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
So here's some points and got lots of wicks, lots of wicks, lots of wicks. So, passing. But it looks like this thing could come down and retest this. It has that possibility. The moving averages are good. If it took it, I want to keep my stop above the 200. And that would be basically that would be a $14 move for a $18 potential profit. So be about 1-to-1 ratio. So with that, everyone, take care. see everybody tomorrow. Stay safe and keep your powder dry. Talk to you later.